Hey guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different, and it's actually going to be a video of a client of mine reviewing their own gameplay on their own after I specified them to, because they needed to really improve their team fighting. So they're an 80 carry main, really focusing on Jinx at the moment, and their problem was they were doing poorly in team fights, but they didn't know why. So I said, hey, go out, learn by yourself how to do game reviews. So I gave him some basic instructions, told him this is what you should be doing, this is what you should be looking for. But besides that, I said, hey, go out there, review your games, and then once you've reviewed your team fights, specifically, I will then come in and review them on top. So we get double the impact of the review. So not only does he get to see his team fights in his lens, because he'd never really done gameplay review and he'd never really reviewed his own games before, but he also had never had someone else. So it was a really good experience and a really good learning experience. And I highly encourage you guys, if you get nothing else out of this video, please go review your own games. And I'm about to tell you why. So, the importance of reviewing your own games. 95% of the league community do not review their own gameplay. So if you are currently a League of Legends player that is not in the rank you want to be, it's not your gold rank, so you're a gold player wanting to get to diamond, or you're not in the rank you think you deserve to be in, reviewing games is a surefire way to maybe not put you in the top 1% of league players, but it's definitely going to make you better than the average player, or at least better than the average player in your current elo. Because as we know, the only way to get from gold 4 to gold 3, all you have to do is play slightly better than the average gold 4 player, and over a matter of time with the league MMR system, you're eventually going to get to gold 3, and that same process applies, and the climb is scalable. So it keeps working as long as you're playing better than the average. And game reviews are really untapped potential that no one uses, yet is almost one of the quickest things to upskill in and to improve in, because reviewing your own gameplay shows you literally every mistake you're making. You can pause it, you can rewind it, you can slow-mo, you can keep replaying until you figure out exactly what you did wrong, and it's just so easy. Second one, getting someone else to review your games is important, but not essential. If you don't do anything out of this video, but one thing, please spend the time this weekend to review at least one of your games. It can just be laning phase, or it can just be team fights, or it can just be every single time you die. Look at the last 15 seconds before you die, figure out why you're dying, and that can be the review. It could take just 15, 20 minutes, and I guarantee you're going to learn so much from it. It's going to set your day right, it's going to set your weekend right, and it's at least going to help you climb for the next week, potentially even month, as you identify your problems and then you figure them out. But if you can get someone else, whether it's a coach, whether it's myself, shameless plug, or whether it's just a friend who's maybe a slightly higher rank than you, get them to help review your game. Say, hey, if you review my game, I'll review your game, and we can exchange notes and help each other get better at the game, because that's what friends are for. Next one, friction of getting started. It sucks. Sometimes reviewing games is really boring, but it's like anything else. Once you just get started, once you just download that replay from your League of Legends client, I guarantee you're going to follow it through. So simply force yourself to open your match history on your league client and just click that download button, and I guarantee you, once you get past that friction point, you are going to review your game and you're going to be enlightened. Please, I guarantee you, if anyone reviews their game, I'm doing this right now, if anyone reviews one of their games, records it and sends it to me and says they learned absolutely nothing, I'm going to give you something free. I'm going to give you 50 Riot points, 50 Australian dollars worth of Riot points to your preferred account if you send me a recording of a game review that you did on your own, that you did not learn one single thing about your gameplay. Because I know that it is effective. I know that it works because I've done it hundreds of times and I've seen hundreds of other players do them. Last point, reward of doing it. No, well, firstly, you could get a $50 right point RP gift card if you do it and you learn nothing, but you're going to learn so much. I guarantee you're going to pick up at least 3 things you're currently doing wrong, and it's going to make you feel so much better, because if you're one of those players that's like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I improve? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Bad teammates, rages. I don't know what to do. Reviewing your game is going to show you exactly. It's like reading a book, How to Get Better at League of Legends. It's basically a book written exactly for you because it's your own gameplay. It's a book telling you how to get better at League of Legends. All you have to do is watch it. All you have to do is watch it and say, hang on, what could I have done differently there? Hang on, why did I do that? Hang on, why did I make this choice? Oh, it was because I was emotional. Oh, it was because of this factor 15 seconds ago. Oh, it was because I didn't ward. And you're immediately going to be enlightened and understand so much more. So anyway, let's get into the review, because it's super good. You don't have to watch it all, but there will be something at the end of the video. I'm trialing out a new thing. So if you're still watching and you actually hang out to the end of the video, there's going to be a little surprise there, and I guarantee you it's worth your wait. So cheers, guys, and let's watch that video. Okay, Philip. Hey, mate. Sorry I finally got to these recordings. I know it's really shit timing because obviously pre-seasons happen now and so much has changed about the game, but the good thing is these teamfight fundamentals and the reviews, the videos you've chosen, I've watched them and made notes. So I'll be talking through the notes as I go through each video. The good news is team fighting and positioning, it doesn't really change regardless of this preseason. Obviously, it's an item change, but it's not really a fundamental change in how AD carries operate, how they need to position, and how they need to play fights. Although you may get a bit more mobility in preseason, like if you go Gale Force, for example, but I think it's going to be all fundamentals the same. So really good recordings and really good self-reflection and insights. The main things I picked up from all these reviews is, one, your positioning in fights really determines the outcome of the fight. So whether you win or lose, depending on your positioning, I'll go to that in a little bit. 2, macros. So understanding the team fight in the context of the game itself. So not tunneling into a team fight as that is the only thing I need to be thinking about right now, and I need to, it's not about whether, you're not thinking of the consequences. You're like, I guess it's like living life in the moment without thinking about the future. That's basically it. So there's no future insights where you're going, okay, if we win this team fight, we get dragon, or if we lose this team fight, we lose dragon, etc., etc. Or understanding, okay, we're on soul point, for example, we don't actually need to win this fight. All we need to do is survive and at least contest this dragon, give ourselves a 50-50 chance. And obviously you only have so much say over that as one team member in a 5-man team and in solo queue where not everyone listens to each other, Philip, but that's the second point. Third one is leadership. So I want you to start taking leadership. The way you're analyzing right now suggests to me that you actually have a pretty fundamental understanding of how your team should be playing team fights in most situations, and you're doing it better than average in your elo. So you're doing it better than the average player, meaning on average, your insights and your leadership and your shot calling is on average going to be better than what your teammates make as decisions. So a disclaimer with that next point is that leadership in solo queue is very hard to do. I suggest keeping it to a minimum. So using pings or using spawn timers to indicate how you want to go in a fight. Or so let's, for example, say your Sona dies really early on in a fight. Sorry, I just got to mute my email notifications. Oh, you just got a sneak peek of something there. Yeah, so let's say Sona dies in just before a team fight happens. You're now in a 4v5. What you should be communicating to your team in this situation, if you're a leader, is pinging them back and letting them know, hey, it's a 4v5. Wait till Sona respawns. Particularly if there's nothing you're fighting over. If you're just fighting in the middle of lane, or if you're just fighting over a tier 2 turret, or if you're just fighting over you know, the second or third dragon, for example. It's not soul point. It's not critical. Understand that you're fighting in a 4v5, which is a compromised position, and therefore your likelihood of success rate is down. And then the final one is your mentality seems to be really strong. Every team fight you're talking about, you're like, okay, I know we're down a bit in gold, but I'm still looking for an opportunity for us to get back in the game through this fight. And I think that's really good, and it shows in your analysis that you're really positive, you're being really constructive, and while you are critiquing yourself, you're not going too hard on yourself, you're knowing what you're doing wrong, but you're also like, okay, I'm kind of doing these things right, at least to a fundamental or acceptable level. So, let's get into video recording one.
Work or school or whatever, man. But anyways, just it was a super good idea to go back and look at VODs. Yeah, so I will try my best to explain the every time you see a Jinx, it's me.
Yeah, so I know it's you every time it's Jinx.
I'll talk about it at the end, what I've really learned from it, because honestly, I have kind of learned a lot from this. So
really good to hear that you've learned a lot from this process, and I hope you do make this a habit now. I'm happy to keep reviewing them as well with you when I can get the time.
Every time you see a Jinx, it's me. So basically this game, 18 and 20, we're winning. Well, no one's technically we're winning, I guess, in terms of objectives. We have 4 Drakes, and just anyone's game kind of. I'm decently ahead. So here's the start of one of my habits that I didn't really pay attention to before, but I kind of just don't really respect the champions.
Yeah. So here, match your positioning with your team fight composition. You are a Jinx with high range. You should not be ahead of your team in any situation. Alistair has more than enough engage. Lux has more than enough engage. Singed has more than enough engaged. And Ivan has more than enough engage that you should never be in front of them when there is a team fight scenario. Also understand that Shyvana's ult is on a cooldown. So again, you don't need to be up this aggressive if your team is this far back. So yes, you're trying to be aggressive. You've got Baron buff and you're trying to get down tier 2 and you're trying to get damage off on the enemy team. But understand that in this situation, you're positioned way too aggressively. So it's not a big deal in this individual game because, as you'll see, you guys will still win the team fight. But in closer games or in games where the next team fight is going to decide the outcome of the game, you won't get away with this kind of really aggressive and risky, reckless team positioning.
Oh shit, we have Baron. But anyways, it's AP Shyvana and her E's basically just a 1 or a 2 shot. So I get hit the first time. Okay, no problem. Plug it off. But you see, got hit again. Almost died straight from that second hit. And then just terrible positioning. Nowhere near enough respect, and just died.
And notice that was her last breath before her dragon form went off. So again, you didn't even need to be here. After the first 2 mistakes, you still didn't need to be here. Although your positioning is slightly better.
It doesn't seem like a big deal this game because we ended up just rolling through them and winning the fight. But yeah, really sad actually because whatever, dumb, bad habits. And then it's just a team fight where we win. So this one is really sad actually because look at it, 16 of 5. We are the red side. The Fiora's just losing her mind. The Graves is pretty good. Well, actually, I think the Graves has been. Anyways, so there's a Zoe on their team. This Zoe is stupid fed, like stupid fed. We have 1 Drake versus their 2, just losing in gold, almost 10k, 16 minutes into the game. And just, this is insane.
So, first thing is understand the value of a tier 2 turret. Notice how much gold they get from here. 150, 150, 50. So, 300, 350 gold. 350 gold at 18 minutes is not that much, particularly in the context of the current gold discrepancies. However, you have a choice of two losses. You can lose slightly or you can lose badly. The loss of your tier 2 is inevitable. It has, like 10% HP? They can basically one-shot it. What you have the choice over is whether you just lose the tier 2 or whether you lose the tier 2 plus your life. So, in this instance, you choose to try and defend a 10% tier 2 turret that was inevitably going to be killed, regardless of if you tried to defend it or not, because it's you and a LeBlanc trying to defend against 3 or 4 enemies with a tier 2 turret that's on 10%, so basically one shot away. Understanding the value of your life here. Live to fight another day. Don't fight under a tier 2 that's just been destroyed. Fight under your inhib turret that's full health and will give your team more of a chance to come back and defend it with you. Particularly when you've identified your Graves as a good player and LeBlanc probably as not a very good player, you should be fighting and choosing your fights around your strongest players, as well as your strongest areas on the map to fight under or in, depending on the context of the game. So, you also mentioned that Braum isn't the problem, which I'll get to in a little bit.
Hit by the ult and then
you say, like, Braum can just do this.
Nothing really I could do there.
Nothing I could really do here, but Braum isn't actually the problem. It's your decision to actually be behind a tier 2 turret that's about to die in the first place. Braum just takes advantage of the fact that you made a mistake. If that makes sense.
I mean, probably could have positioned to not be around there, but, you know, kind of should have just let the tower go. Stupid.
Yep, let the tower go. All good.
I mean, I guess that's another part of, like, not putting enough respect in the Braum, because it's so easy for Braum to literally just do that to anybody, much less me, and especially since I'm the carry, I have to position a lot more safer. So, like, kind of, I don't know, stupid. It didn't really, it's not, I don't know, man. But
yeah,
anyway,
tier 2 isn't worth it.
A little bit farther into the game, we're lost. We're losing even more. I took basically every tower. Okay, so we have what looks like kind of promising fight.
Look at your positioning. I know that you don't really have a front line, but you should never be the furthest one up in your team. And notice how you are doing that. It's not so bad here, but now here is where it becomes a problem.
Feeling kind of good. And I want to obviously keep fighting. They're a little...
Here, now you are again the front line. And obviously you have the most range and you're engaged in a champion. But understand that Graves is coming. So if you could just wait 3 seconds for Graves to again be the front line with 100% health, or even Fiora, who's on pretty much 100% health as well. If you can just wait for them to engage, so just be a little bit more patient. Understand as well why you're positioning like this. You can tell by the way you're talking and obviously by the score of this game that you're frustrated and you're trying to make an opportunity. You're trying to limit test to get yourself back in the game. So it's introducing you to a concept basically called risk appetite. Everyone has a different risk appetite, Philip, and it's all dependent on how you want to play the game. But in this situation, your risk appetite is too much. You're taking on too much risk for the reward you're going to get.
But
as we'll soon see. Obviously, Fiora gets one shot.
I don't know, man. Something about me wanting to go in and get kills, because like, it is honestly really easy for me to kill the Zoe. Probably a couple of rockets to kill Triss. But just did not take into effect that this guy's...
And now you pretty much die before Graves even gets in the fight.
Like, just I walk up and get instantly CC'd and just die. our team ends up killing a couple of them, but like still like there's kind of no reason for me to just do that. Sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, so this was a fight. Another fight. We were doing very decent. Like, well, I mean, not really actually. We're still losing.
Really good mentality. So just want to point that out. That's one of the key themes I noticed throughout this. You've got really good mentality and you're always looking at the positives. You're always looking for opportunities to get back in the game, even when playing from behind.
Stupid hard. You have no towers at all. This is bots, the last lane that we got to defend. And basically my mentality right now is like, okay, maybe if I can get enough gold and get lucky off of these terrible team fights, I might be able to just turn something around, you know? You never really know. So, I'm like, alright, I'm gonna farm bot and chill.
Again, understand the value of a tier 2. It's okay to give up a tier 2 at this stage in the game and when you can defend at your inhib turret. Obviously, you've got 2 inhibs missing, I believe, so it does get a little bit trickier, but tier 2s aren't worth dying over. Remember that. A tier 2 is never worth your death. In almost any situation, no matter how early in the game it is, it's pretty much never worth your death to give up a tier 2.
She gets like obliterated from
much better positioning in this clip as well. So it looks like you're almost learning from your previous mistakes within the game itself that you need to be positioning a little bit better. You're now positioning behind the Graves, which is good to see. Good rocket.
Graves goes ham.
Yeah.
Like no one there to really help him, so he...
The good thing is Graves goes super ham, which gives you an opportunity to go in, and you seize that opportunity, which is really good.
Skarner instantly CCs him. Zoe dies because LeBlanc actually like one-shots her, so that was really, really good since I area. I get ulted by Skarner because, like I said, I just didn't really... I walked up into melee range and it was just easy for him. Tristana just gets killed. And Akali ends up behind me. And I have no choice but to walk into Skarner. So I'd rather give Skarner a kill than the Akali.
Death was inevitable this fight. So your death was inevitable simply because Fiora died before this fight even begun. So it was a 4v5, meaning that Akali could do whatever she wants. In this fight, she decides to flank and clean you up. Although you positioned really well and you actually played the previous team fight near perfectly, you couldn't have done much here to avoid your death because the Fiora died, giving Akali an opportunity. So, to be honest, I think you maximized your value to your team and maximize what you could have done in this situation. So I think this is probably one of your better videos that you've shown just because you played in terms of positioning really better and your damage dealing was really good. Even though you still died, the outcome was quite good, and the outcome was good mainly because of your decisions.
Because look, she was all the way over here, and she teleported all the way back here where we had no vision, so just got a crazy sneak attack. But anyways,
you also do see Fiora teleport.
Like the pattern that...
So you do see Fiora teleport, so maybe you could have avoided it, but I don't think you honestly could. As soon as that TP starts, you pretty much have no escape route because you can't go this way, you can't go backwards because Akali's there, and you can't go forwards.
But just because of this, I am noticing that literally just not respecting the characters enough.
Yep. This is actually a pathing issue. This has nothing to do... Well, I guess it does have a bit to do with disrespect of Skarner. This has nothing to do, though... This has everything, sorry, to do with pathing. All you have to do here is, why do you go this way? I guess Fiora's here, but as you already said, Fiora was playing really badly this game. All you have to do is go through this little gate and Skarner can't follow you. Of course he has flash, but then he actually has to flash over to follow you. Instead, you walk towards your Fiora, who's already playing a bad game, and as you'll note, she's AFK or not reacting, so she's clearly tilted. So my question is, why did you not path towards this gate rather than pathing here?
I put my traps in a terrible spot. If I put them here,
the traps were bad, yes, but still pathing was the big issue.
He just walks up, Fiora just stares at me for a little bit.
I mean, this Fiora is doing dumb shit, but if you went this way, this all would have been avoided.
Yeah, so that game was a wash, but, okay, this final game right here, this is probably where you're probably going to learn more about how I play than anything, because this was a game where we were doing I think I was ahead, actually, for, like, the majority of the game. It wasn't until maybe, like, I don't know, a fight 20-30 minutes in that ended up losing us the game. So I had Sona support. She was okay. Super good ult.
Okay. What's more important here? Getting a kill on a Thresh that has a really good terrain to fight you in. So this is a prime area, or a choke point. This is perfect for Thresh, and you're running straight at him. So his ability and his chance to hook you here is super high. 2, you don't know where Jhin is, and if you assume Thresh has already roamed up here, you can assume that given you're the bot lane, there's nothing for Jhin to do in the bot lane, so he will probably be close, if not just behind this Jhin that you'll soon, this Thresh that you'll soon find out. So firstly, after your kill on Hecarim, immediately go for the turret plating. This is such a safer objective than going for a Thresh in a choke point. So just understanding again, what's more valuable? Turret platings and trying to get this kill on this turret, or killing this support in a very high risk environment, or attempting to kill this support when you have no information on where the Jhin is and their damage dealer.
But you see, I get so
this is basically tunneling and overvaluing kills.
You know, I don't know, man. I got that like mentality or whatever. But so I see the Thresh.
So instead of getting you could have got a kill and a turret plating. Instead, you get a kill and a death on yourself. What's better, I guess, is the question to ask yourself.
All I see is Thresh, and I'm like, man, I really, really want that guy. Boom, hooked. And then straight into the Jhin W.
Yeah. And now it's just inevitable that you're going to die here, because you're playing in a choke point with Jhin and Thresh.
He has no kills or anything at this point into the game. All he has is farm. But because of my mispositioning, and he placed a trap there too, and I didn't want to walk back because I would have got hit by the wall, so I was kind of stuck here. And just because of how I didn't give the Thresh enough respect, I literally just walked up and got level. Crazy, man. And he gets to survive Volibear because Volibear lacks damage. So that was really, really, really stupid of me to just walk up and get hooked. And then, so this game, the problem with this game was, so Nico didn't do that well, but she's still a CC bot, and it's the same thing with like Sona. So if I played around Volibear too, like if I played around them, you know, chances are if like they just were able to peel for me or the Lucian, we probably would have been okay. But they also have a Hecarim on their team, and that Hecarim is just a beast. So all he did this whole game was just run straight into the back line.
Positioning? Your positioning is so much better this fight. Look at your positioning. You're playing so much safer. You know Hecarim possibly has a flank on you. You know Nico's just pretty much died for free. So immediately it's already a 4v5. So again, the leadership principle or the leadership idea comes in here, where if Hecarim, if Nico dies, this is an immediate 4v5. and you should think about whether you want to fight a 4v5 over the third dragon or not. So again, taking leadership, taking macro, and taking the risk factors of your team fight, putting that together and making a quick decision on, do we want to take a 4v5 fight when we're down in gold and it's not a very important reason we're fighting for. We're fighting for third dragon. Neither team has a win condition with third dragon, but the enemy team has a win condition because they're fighting a 4v5, which gives them inherently a higher percentage chance of this succeeding. So positioning is really good here. You're playing front to back with Volibear tanking.
The Rumble zoned us off.
Yeah.
Going in over here.
Again, here's another moment to disengage. You could just ping your team to disengage. Volibear obviously goes in on his own accord.
I don't know why I flashed there, but technically kept me alive.
And look at this positioning again. Look how far you're playing back. This is so good.
But because none of us are able to get over there,
and look at Volibear frontlining for you. Perfect.
The Rumble, we literally just can't help that, because just rocket there, easy.
Yep.
But we're able to kill the Rumble, so it's decent. And we're a little bit behind in gold, but in terms of objectives, we have some dragons, so always good.
Remember leadership again. It's not going to take 4 of you to kill this turret, so one of you, ideally you or Volibear, should go over and start killing Cloud Drag, optimizing your macro efficiency so you can get this turret and this dragon simultaneously. 3 of you can just be on the turret, 1 of you can be on the dragon. Then as soon as these 3 people kill this turret, they come and help the person on dragon. So again, a leadership quality that if your team's cooperative, you can say, hey, I'm going to start dragon, you guys take tier 1, or you ping dragon and then you ping on your way to, you ping the turret and then you ping on the way to dragon, because the original team fight looked like it actually spawned or happened because this dragon was spawning. Everyone congregated towards the dragon, but then after the team fight, everyone forgets about the dragon. So just again, never forget your macro and also understand your role as a leader. And if you can be a leader in certain scenarios, take it with both hands, or at least try and be a leader. If it fails, but at least you tried.
And then it becomes a trend kind of Nico or the Sona getting caught out and dying instantly.
Also, when you play from the back, particularly with a front line, so Volibear's your front line in this game, when you play front to back, you play as a Jinx naturally because it's her identity playing front to back, but you as a player as well play so much better. You're able to get more damage off, you're able to be more useful, and you're able to survive for longer when you play from the back rather than when you're trying to engage and trying to chase ahead of your team as a Jinx. So just keep that in mind when you play Jinx.
So look, we have crazy objectives.
You can still be a leader from behind through pings and through communication.
Really is okay.
Especially when you're playing Jinx. You don't need to lead from ahead when you're playing Jinx. If you're playing Volibear, leading from ahead's a different story.
No vision at all over here. And Hector goes straight in. Nothing I can do.
So again, really good kiting, and your positioning saved yourself this fight. Again, Volibear should not be in this fight. As soon as you lose Sona, and I don't even know where Lucian is, but is Lucian even in this fight? No, Lucian's not even in this fight. So as soon as you lose Sona and that Lucian's top lane, this is a 3v5 that you guys, sorry, a 3v5 because Hecarim died, I guess, at the same time as Sona. So a 3v5, a 4v5 that turns into a 3v4. Volibear should not be in this situation, and so your positioning here is actually really good. You can't do much more than this. This is good.
No, like how I could have avoided this. Maybe if we had vision here, but
no, you didn't need to avoid this. Hecarim played this well, and you couldn't really foresee it.
Pink and he's sweeping it. So.
The slight disrespect was here with Thresh, but you get out of that anyway. So here, going in against a Thresh is pretty dangerous. Lucky he chucked his W instead of his hook, otherwise you would have been dead.
Because I was right in the middle of the scene. He just ran through us. Yeah,
But now, this is where you're positioning really well. So it's all good.
It's still very close.
Your positioning is getting so much better the more games we look at, which is a really good sign as well, Philip.
So whatever.
That even without like consciously knowing, you're slowly improving your team fights depending on the previous team fight situations and problems that occur.
Decent. And then this one walks up and it's a sick ult.
Good positioning here. Again, you play so much better when you're not engaging. Hecarim misses his ult on you, which is perfect.
I pick up my final kill over the rest of the game. So
yeah,
it's all right, I guess.
It's a shame because when your team in this game plays 5v5, you guys do so well. But the problem is like Lucian like split pushing, Lucian not here. But when you guys are grouped as 5v5 and you position correctly, your team is playing so much better than their team, which is a shame.
And this is sad. So this is where it starts spiraling. And this is the same type of like issue, man. I just didn't put enough respect into the Jhin, so she almost gets one shot.
Positioning too aggressively. Volibear has run off, so your front line is gone. You're versing a full health Hecarim and a full health Jhin versus a 80% Jinx and a 50% Nico. Who wins this fight? They do. So you should not be going up for any damage here, given that this fight is revolving around Dragon that's spawning soon. And the fact that your front line has run off, regardless of why he's run off. I think he's run off to go help Fiora, someone else, or to kill Fiora. It doesn't matter. You should not be here. You should be understanding that Dragon's the objective here, not trying to take a unfavorable 2v2.
It's really dumb of me. And okay, so as I'm walking over here, instantly, okay, Hecarim, I know that he's been killing me all game. I don't know why I walk into him. Jhin, I just saw him almost one-shot her, so chances are he can almost one-shot me. And over here is Fiora and Lucian fighting. See, so just a Q
again taking
and
free damage here.
Shot. I have no choice but to flashing it out.
Yep, the flash was fine.
Hecarim has no ult, so that's good.
The positioning was the bad part. Your flash was just a response to bad positioning.
So they kill Fiora. Then they hop the wall.
See, notice how these guys won their fight, yet you lost your fight. Yet they took a fight that the enemy team didn't have to take, but they did. You took a fight that you didn't have to take, but you did, and ended up losing it. So if you had just never taken this fight, Nico probably would have died regardless. At least you would have been in a much better health. You probably would have been 90% health here rather than 40%. You still get the right outcome, but again, in a tighter game, when you're playing for Dragon Soul, you're playing with too much risk. And again, it comes back to risk appetite and understanding what the macro objective is, why you're even fighting here, or why you're even considering fighting a full health Jhin and a full health Hecarim in a situation like this.
Drag is spawning soon. This is big. This is our fourth Drake.
Again, front to back, you're playing so much better when you do this.
This is terrible positioning on me. I probably should have played behind him
it's not that bad because you don't have much choice here. Volibear's gone in. You have to position aggressively here. Ideally, you should never have burnt your flash here because we would have positioned better. But you do have to fight here because Volibear's engaged. Sorry. Oh, go back.
Too, because he's just trying to kill the Jhin, but he's at this point he just is lacking damage. So I walk up and just straight into range.
This is fine. It's fine because Hecarim has a choice here. He can only kill one of you guys. When he doesn't have his ult, he can only kill one of you. And of course, because Lucian has a dash and he's slightly healthier than you, he goes for you instead. But it's fine.
And the only reason that I really died is because I took these two bits
Yeah,
of damage
yeah, here.
right
That's the reason you died.
I
You
was
should never
so
have been in
weak
this
just
position.
from that. So if I played it safer, I would have been full health and I probably wouldn't have died there. So that sucked. We ended up getting the Drake off of that though, so it's like, okay, whatever, I'll die just as long as we keep going. But then this is the fight that lost everything for us. So I'm out here trying to put vision, so
Yep.
putting pinks and just staying around my team. I know Fire is over here, so I'm definitely not walking in that direction.
Yep, smart. I mean, Sona gets caught here, which immediately makes every decision after Sona dies a bad decision if it's a decision that's related to trying to fight the enemy team. Sona has misplayed here, making this game a 4v5, making this next fight a 4v5, which immediately puts your team at a compromising position. This again is one of those moments where you should take leadership, assess the situation, and make a informed decision on whether you should try and ping your team to disengage and stop this fight, wait for Sona to respawn, and potentially give up Baron, or at least regather, regroup, reposition, and then go into Baron, at least with a 4v5. You know, Sona's still dead and out of the fight, but at least you've got that front to back structure that works so well in this game, as we can see when Volibear frontlines and you and Lucian backline.
Sona gets hooked and instantly
Yeah.
killed.
Really good restraint and positioning here, though.
Straight into the back line. Destroys him.
Again, you're kind of fighting without Volibear. He does come in, though,
And
towards
he
the end.
fears Lucian into their team. Volibear comes in, trying to save the Lucian. Then
Good
Lucian dies
position.
instantly. And
Sorry, I'm
because I saw
yawning. Good
Fireworks
positioning
coming
here.
up, I'm like, okay, definitely not walking into her. Because at this point, Firewar had enough time to scale and get gold. So she's not that strong. Like, so our top laner won his lane. Lucian won his lane. But because the game has been kind of going on and just, whatever, Firewar was able to scale. So she's decently strong. Strong enough to definitely win me. And basically they just obliterate.
You had to give up here.
Volibear because he's not tanking.
Again, leadership. You could have got your whole team to back like you potentially. As soon as Sona died, if you had taken leadership, you know, 3 fights earlier, started pinging, started telling your team, hey, let's go for Dragon, hey, let's go for front to back team fights. Maybe they wouldn't have listened, maybe they would have. At least try and communicate, try and take leadership, and give yourself an opportunity to try and take control of a game when you're playing better, or at least you think you're playing better and making better decisions than your team.
And I just die. Straight into me.
Yeah, it's unlucky. It's pretty close.
By kiting him, but just barely.
And the reason Hecarim's able to kill you again, it's not directly your fault, and it was probably pretty inevitable in this situation if you wanted to try and help your team. Hecarim was able to get the flank on you because Sona died for free and the rest of your team was dead. So there was really no other choice but you dying pretty much here. It was really good that you could almost take Hecarim to a death, but in the grand scheme of things, even if you killed him, it wouldn't have mattered too much.
Really not enough. And we end up losing Baron and just terrible. And this is the final fight of the game, for me at least.
So notice this is another 4v5. Sona is not here at, what is this, like a 30-minute fight? If Sona's not here, don't fight a 4v5. What's the rush? There is no rush for you guys to be fighting here when you know Sona is in your base.
The fourth dragon, so we have...
You have no front line. Your Volibear is on the opposite side of a choke point where Hecarim and Rumble excel at. Oh, sorry, that's Nico. I got confused by a clone.
Over here. Nico's over here.
So the positioning is fine. The only problem is that Sona's not here. I take that back.
Rumble Rumble ult completely zones me off of the fight.
Yep, that's fine. This positioning is good. You can't go through a Rumble ult.
Straight into these two. Hecarim.
You have no choice now but to fight the Hecarim.
He was barely able to kill him in time to save Lucian.
Perfect.
Nico lands a really, really good ult, but because none of us were there, none of us were able to...
Because it was a 4v5, Hecarim theoretically took 3 of you out of the fight. Hecarim took you and Lucian by getting a double fear, and then he also took Sona out of the fight because Sona had to go and heal you guys instead of rushing to Volibear and Nico. So it all stemmed from you guys taking a fight before you have a 5v5. So make sure your fights are as even as possible. If there is no ticking timer, like your base is getting killed, you're getting split pushed, or the enemy team is about to take Elder Dragon itself, take your time with team fights. Take leadership, tell your team, hey, just wait until Sona comes. Like, even if it's just through pinging them back and, you know, pinging on Sona like Sona's on her way. Take your time with team fights, take leadership, and start setting them up so you have a higher success rate. You want every team fight to have the highest possible success rate you can have in solo queue. Because obviously not every team fight's going to be perfect, and it never is, and you're never going to be able to get your teammates to do everything you want them to, but at least try and stack the odds in your favor before taking a team fight.
React to it. But I saw that it was a good ult, so I threw my ult in there.
Yeah. Your ult was fine here.
I immediately just want to land a couple of rockets.
Yeah. The problem here is it was a bad fight to begin with, so everything is just very low chance and high risk.
And I'm dead. Lucian goes around, kills the Mugen.
Yeah.
Almost kills the Rumble.
Yeah. But
that's it.
Again, all stemmed from Sona coming late and Hecarim's 2-man ult. That was pretty inevitable.
So, yeah, man. What I've noticed is I need to play a little bit smarter, man, and play more around their abilities instead of letting stuff like that happen. So,
You're close there. You need to play smarter, yes. And yes, you do need to play around their abilities more, but you actually need to play around your team more and understand your role in a team fight and understand what the best situation or area of the map or time in the game that your team should take a team fight. Take leadership and try and set those team fights up to the most realistic and highest percentage of success that you can give it. So wait an extra 10 seconds when Sona comes. Disengage if Sona gets caught. Don't fight if Volibear dies early or isn't with you guys before you engage, etc., etc. Knowing your win condition and playing towards it is really important.
It's crazy, man. I really like
thinking bigger picture rather than smaller picture. You're thinking just on the team fight itself, in, you know, with no context of the greater game, with no context of, okay, if we win this team fight, what happens next? Okay, if we lose this team fight, what happens next? And thinking about the game in terms of not just the step you're currently taking, but also the next step and the step after that, and the consequences of this step on those next steps.
It seems like such an easy thing to do, but I guess... yeah, so I'll try to apply it more to my games and stuff, and yeah, sorry if the video is a little long, but I appreciate all your help and stuff, and like I said, sorry for being super late about all this, but yeah, man, thanks so much.
All good, dude. That's a really good video. I'm super happy with your first time analyzing your own games. I've got all the notes from each video here, each recording, so I'll send these to you in Discord as well, so you can go over them while watching the video. But this is a really, really, really good first attempt at reviewing games, and I'm so glad, Philip, that you've found value. You've gone, shit, I'm reviewing my games. Holy shit, I'm actually learning things. I'm learning that I do this. I'm learning that I have this bad habit. I'm actually doing this quite well, but also you're seeing opportunities now in your own gameplay, and then I'm adding even more opportunities. So right now, at the start of the video, so pre-review, you're like, I'm playing bad. I don't know why. Is it my teammates? Is it this? Is it that? But now after the games, you're like, okay, I'm not playing too badly. I'm playing a little bit badly, but now I have all these opportunities. I have all these areas and these avenues where I can improve as a player. And that's a really good sign, having all these avenues where you can improve, taking leadership, understanding macro, understanding positioning, understanding your team composition and how that relates to a team fight, understanding how you can set your team fights up in solo queue to have the highest success rates, understanding that you can ping and try and communicate for your team to not fight or fight in more favorable situations. It's not always going to work out, but at least you should try. I think this is a really good first attempt, Philip. think you should be really happy with it, and I think we should do this again next month or this
Hey guys, thank you for watching the whole video, and to be honest, if you skip to the end just to see what this is all about, the thing I'm about to tell you probably isn't worth your time and you're probably actually not going to complete it. So I don't think it'd be valuable for you, but you can feel free to listen and message me after this. So why I wanted to keep you guys around is, one, because if you're still watching this video, I know you're dedicated, I know you're interested in my content, and I know you want to get better at League of Legends. So right now I'm in the process of finalizing the script for a League of Legends untiltable online course. Now, this is going to be a paid course. However, if you're listening right now and if you DM me once you've watched this, just say, hey, I'm interested in the untiltable League of Legends course. It's all about mentality, getting the right mindset, and learning how to unlock your true self when playing League of Legends. So say goodbye to tilt, say goodbye to raging, say goodbye to feeling hopeless, feeling like you're never going to climb to that gold rank, because I'm about to change your world, the way you view not only League of Legends, but also the way you view life, relationships, work, other games, sport, competitiveness, social life, friends, etc., etc. So if you're interested, message me. I'll put a link in the YouTube description below of my Discord name. Add me on Discord, and once I accept your friend request, message me untiltable League of Legends course, or say anything. Just say, hi, I'm interested, or hi, I want to be it. And you will be one of the lucky beta testers that will get the whole course for free, and you'll get to critique it. So that's the one ask I have of you. Critique it, give your honest feedback, and let me know if it's shit, if it's good, and if you find it valuable. So I don't care if it's the most well-presented course and, you know, it's really interesting. If you as a League of Legends player don't find it valuable, I don't want to make it a course that I want to give to other people. So please be honest if you do get selected for the beta testing, which you probably will be if you do reply to this. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for hanging around till the end.